Hey there, film fans! Welcome back to my channel. If you love movies and series as much as I do, hit that subscribe button and let's dive in. Enjoy the video. The film begins near the seaside of a European city with songs and dances. The young Willy Wonka arrives in the city. The aspiring conficker envisions opening his own confiserie. On the way, he spends almost his last money to wax his shoes and pay for a broken pumpkin. Later, in the middle of the street, Wonka starts dancing. But no one sees this performance except him. The boy's particular behavior attracts the attention of a policeman. Against a small reward, the man lets the pastry chef go. In the evening, while walking in the streets of the city, Wonka gives his last money to a woman with a child. For this reason, he has to spend the night on a bench. There, he is noticed by an unpleasant man named Bleacher. He offers the boy to spend the night at Mrs. Screwbit's. Wonka introduces himself to the woman as a magician and promises to pay as soon as he has earned money. Mrs. Screwbit suggests signing a contract. Despite the small characters, Wonka agrees to sign. The pastry chef does not see how Bleacher is preparing to hit him from behind in case of refusal. The next day, Wonka goes to the city center to show his candy to people. The local chocolatiers, owners of candy factories, notice his presentation. The trio go down to taste the candy in the hope of criticizing the young pastry chef. But the taste and effect of the candy levitation make them silent, surprising people who willingly buy all the candies. However, the police, previously summoned by the chocolate mafia trio, stop the trade of unlicensed products. In addition, they confiscate all sales revenues. But one of the police officers leaves Wonka a coin to pay for his accommodation. Arriving at the apartment, Wonka learns that he has to pay a heavy commission. Since the boy does not have this money, he will have to spend it. Bleacher throws the boy into a pipe that leads to an underground laundry. There, the mistaken visitors settle their debts. After the end of the working day, the workers scatter in their rooms. Noodle, an orphan, visits Wonka, the minor girl who had already tried to warn her of the deception of Miss Screwbit. The confessor tells her about his deceased mother, who taught him how to make chocolate, but who, unfortunately, never revealed the most important secret. The boy gives Noodle a candy and offers her a supply of live candy if she helps him escape. Together, they manage to devise a rescue plan. Meanwhile, the police chief visits the church. He goes down to the basement of the cathedral where the chocolate shop's secret seat is located. The Monopoler trio finger the officer with chocolate to get him to eliminate the promising confessor named Willy Wonka. Unable to resist such a temptation, the police officer agrees. In the morning, Wonka and Noodle begin to implement their plan. The young girl tells Miss Screwbit that she saw numerous prints of Bleacher's face on one of the customers. The man reveals that Mr. Bleacher is a descendant of a noble family from Bavaria. Miss Screwbit treats the summit of the social pyramid with special feelings. At the same time, Wonka assures Bleacher that Miss Screwbit is in love with him. To melt a woman's heart, two things are enough: wash up and dress up. While the duo is busy playing child's games, Wonka presents her invention to her unfortunate colleagues, a washing machine entirely automatic with a dog as the engine. Freeing his friends from monotonous work, Wonka runs away disguised in a dirty linen bag. Noodle takes the boy to town, where Wonka wants to offer sweets to the girl as a sign of gratitude. But all the sweets have been stolen by a mysterious person, who has already surprised the baker more than once with such farces. To prepare another lot, you need a special ingredient: giraffe milk. To enter the zoo, Noodle offers a guardian of the sweets, which have a fairly strong effect of alcoholic intoxication, going inside without obstacles. After a short flight, they are welcomed by a police officer on the landing site. Wonka orders the girl to flee, and with an outside help, he dives into a frozen fountain. The officer explains that neither the boy nor his entourage are welcome here. Wonka does not understand the reason for such an aggression. To better assimilate the information, the police officer hits the boy on the head with a stick. When Wonka returns to Miss Screwbit's press, he explains that he is a baker and wants to start his own production. The secret headquarters as well as the chocolate reservoir are under the temple. A monk, Father Julius, and his subordinates help to keep the secret. And the chocolate cartel uses it to corrupt, make people sing, and eliminate its competitors. After this tense story, everyone disperses in his room. The next day, with the support of other unfortunate comrades, Wonka begins to sell his sweets. After tasting the sweets, people start singing and dancing. During this time, the police try with all their might to catch the confiscator. One night, Wonka manages to catch a mysterious candy thief. With the help of a trap he himself built, the thief is locked in a jar. The thief turns out to be a man named Lofty from the Oompa Loompa tribe. Wonka asks why he is being pursued. Lofty says that Wonka ruined his life, but the young baker does not remember such an incident. Thanks to a clever method, Wonka and Lofty plunge into memories. Once, Wonka stole cocoa beans that Lofty was supposed to keep. To have fallen asleep during his service and lost the beans, the tribe expelled the man. Until Lofty returns what he lost, the way back is closed to him. Wonka offers to damage Lofty for everything. Taking advantage of the moment, Lofty steals the last batch of candy and escapes. In the morning, Wonka tells everyone what happened, but no one believes him. Despite this, his friends prepare a surprise for the baker. He rents an unused store. Wonka and the company begin to make the place more presentable. The next day, Wonka opens the doors of his store to everyone. With songs and dances, he calls the guests inside, where a show and a multitude of snacks await them. Visitors are delighted because they have never tasted anything so delicious before. Suddenly, the visitor's hair begins to grow instantly. After analysis, Wonka understands that someone added the sweat of Snowman to the candy. Furious guests trigger a stir, after which the store is ravaged by flames. The smile on the lips, Slugworth observes all this. Wonka's associates are convinced that the chocolate cartel is behind all this. While the confiscator is alone, the chocolate trio approaches him. They offer him a market. They will pay all the debts to Mrs. Screwbit for his friends. In exchange, Wonka will never make candy again. Without other options, Wonka accepts. The trio, accompanied by a policeman, escorts Wonka to the ship. On the bridge, the confiscator notices Lofty, who shows no intention of stopping his pursuit. Lofty says that Wonka should continue to make his incredible chocolate, but the boy does not consider doing so, since he has signed a contract. During the conversation, Wonka notices Slugworth's mark on Lofty's hand, the same mark he saw on Noodle's family heritage. Wonka thinks the girl is in danger, so he runs to the captain to turn around. But there is no one on the ship except Dynamite, who is about to blow the ship to pieces. Wonka and Lofty evacuate the ship urgently. The next morning, Mrs. Screwbit frees all the debtors except Noodle. Slugworth paid for her, but not for his freedom. He paid Mrs. Screwbit to keep Noodle with her alive. Sad, the young girl reveals that Bleacher is not an aristocrat at all. They made up the whole story to leave the laundry unnoticed. Furious, the owner locks the young girl in the cellar. However, soon, Wonka and his unfortunate companions come to the young girl's aid. They explain to Noodle their plan to kidnap the big black book from the chocolate mafia. To execute the plan, Wonka steals a giraffe, while Noodle secretly places special sweets in Father Julius's pocket. When he opens it, the giraffe rushes inside, causing the panic and the escape of all the priests. The patriarch calls on the animal control service, ignoring that they are actually Wonka's accomplices. On the other hand, Wonka and the company are divided into two groups. While one catches the giraffe and takes it to the street, the other finds a disguised elevator leading to the secret headquarters. When Slugworth hears on the radio strange things happening in the church, he immediately understands that Wonka is involved. Noodle finally finds the same book, but the trio is already there. Slugworth reveals that Noodle is his brother's daughter. Then, Wonka and Noodle are taken to the chocolate reservoir. The boy's last wish is to keep the last batch of sweets made. The trio leaves the room, then opens the Hydra's hatch. The chocolate slowly but surely begins to fill the room. In a few minutes, the duo is already at the ceiling. They call for help, but no one hears them except the chocolate trio. They say goodbye and leave. Wonka apologizes to Noodle for involving him in all this. Resigned to their fate, the duo throws themselves into the chocolate. Meanwhile, Loft, with a pot, stuns the patriarch, then goes down to the basement. He opens the hatches, lowering the level of chocolate in the room, thus saving the lives of Wonka and Noodle near the church. The trio meets an officer who can barely get into his car because of the chocolate. At the same time, Wonka leaves the church and hands the book to one of the police officers. After examining the information, the officer orders the arrest of the owners of the chocolate cartel. While the happy company is savoring their sweet, Wonka is sitting on the steps with a smile on his face. He takes out a bar of chocolate prepared by his mother a long time ago. Inside, he finds a note from his mother with the main secret of the chocolate. The main thing is not the chocolate itself, but with whom you share it. He also tells Noodle that they will manage to find his mother together. They go to the library where, after so many years, the family reunites. Meanwhile, Loft approaches Wonka. A Oompa Loompa says he won't leave the boy. until he has recovered the rest of the chocolate for the stolen cocoa beans. Immediately after these words, Wonka gives Loft a jar of candy. The man turns around and leaves, but Wonka stops him to offer him a position as head of the tasting department. The duo heads to the ruins of an old castle where Wonka wants to build his own factory. With songs and dances, Wonka presents how his factory will be furnished. He shows us the emblem that adorns the roof of the factory. If you liked the video, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to follow the Page Summary Movie Official at Facebook. And see you in the next summary. Bye.